G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd share today one of the things that I've just made recently for the golf sim, and that is my new impact strip or hitting strip. The reason I made this is because off the turf that I have at the moment, it's tee turf. It's quite abrupt when you hit down on the ball. So I have straight concrete and then I'm using my hitting turf or my tee turf. And it's a premium tee turf. It's a really good mat. But I've just noticed over the past 6 months of continuously using the golf sim, and as much as I'm playing golf, I am starting to get slight injuries in my elbows or niggling injuries in my elbows. So what I thought I'd do is buy an impact strip and put it into my mat. I've seen a lot of people cut a section out of their mat and put the impact strip in. What I ended up doing though, again, because I live here in Australia and access to these hitting strips is really hard for us. I know in the States you have access to the SIG Pro Softy, you've got fiber-built hitting strips, you've got a lot of really great hitting strips. In Australia, we don't. Pretty much the only option I had without paying about $200 in shipping was the Kaizen hitting strip, and I'll put a picture now on the screen of that. And it just looked very average to me. Like, it didn't look very good. Like, there's no soft foam in the middle. What I thought I'd do is try and make my own. And so what I came up with was, instead of doing an impact strip that cuts into my tee turf, what I thought I'd try and do is just create one that sits alongside it. The hardest thing about making these hitting strips is you've got to make sure you make them the correct height, because you don't want to have it sitting way above your hitting mat and you don't want to have it sitting down. Ideally, you want them to be as high as you can because you want to have a lot of foam there to cushion the impact of the club. But the issue with doing that is then you're going to have to start raising your mat, and then because I've got low ceilings, it causes a lot of issues with driver. So I had to make this thing the same height as my hitting mat, which is 30 millimeters. And so I kind of based this around the Holy Grail hitting turf. And so what I've done is I've got a piece of acrylic, which was $60 Australian. It's 1500 mil or 1.5 meters in length and then 300 millimeters wide. The acrylic I got was 3 millimeters in thickness. For any Americans watching, that is roughly 5 feet long and a foot wide. And then I was scouring around all of the synthetic turf shops around where I live, trying to find offcuts of putting turf. And I found an offcut that suited this, and they sold it to me for $40 Australian. So I had the acrylic and the turf, and so I glued that together just using Gorilla Glue. I then went to Clark Rubber to try and get some foam. I was gonna get this foam online, but it was really hard for me to try and find the correct thickness of foam that I was looking for, and I basically wanted to get this thing going as soon as possible. So I just went to Clark Rubber. So the foam was expensive. So I've kind of laid the foam out a similar way to how the Holy Grail hitting strip is. I've got harder, denser foam for the ends. And because it's so long, I actually put quite a big chunk of foam on each end. And then because it is a long piece of acrylic or a long hitting strip, I actually got the same dense foam to run the entire length of the sides, as you can see. And then from there, I got a softer foam just to go in the middle. And the reason for this foam in the middle, when you're hitting this, and I didn't realize until I started hitting shots without the foam, because it creates kind of like a drum. And when I was hitting it without the foam in there, there was quite a loud echo that was coming from the mat when you hit down on it with the irons. This foam ended up costing me $80. And like I said, I bought a bit too much actually, but I wanted it quick. I could have gone online and got it a lot cheaper, but I wanted it that day. And then I put it together with the Gorilla Glue, which was $22 for a bottle. So all up, this hitting strip cost me $202. Which equates to $141 US. So it's pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I've used it for about a week now. It does actually take a lot of pressure off my joints. My elbows are feeling better already, and it's really nice to hit off. None of my yardages have changed, so it's not affecting my yardages through the bag, which is really good. So yeah, I'll be keeping it up to date on the channel. I'll be keeping you guys up to date on how this goes. The biggest thing that I can see happening is the putting turf on the top is going to start to wear out pretty quick, as it is putting turf. It's not designed for hitting shots off. So I can see, and I've already started to see some wear where I'm hitting the irons off it. That'll be the biggest thing with hitting strip, is just making sure that putting turf doesn't wear out too quick. And then if it does, finding a replacement turf to go on there. I hope you guys liked that video. If you want any other information, let me know in the comment section, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.